The biblical prophecies of the last days outlines a world that looks much different than our world now. But as day by day goes by, we can see how that end goal will eventually be met. The mark of the beast, signs in the sun, moon, and stars, and distress of nations. These are a few prophecies that day by day we're getting more of a glimpse of, and how those things may not be too far off. The unfolding of the mark of the beast and the technology and the world systems for that to be implemented in the world is clearly day by day being set up more and more. Recently, Professor Richard Werner, who was chosen by the WEF in 2003 to be a global leader for tomorrow, said that he talked to central bankers who said that their goal is for them to eventually get CBDCs or central bank digital currencies implanted underneath our skin.
But what was already ready around 2015 is the ultimate goal. What they really want, apparently, I was told by a central banker, is, CBDCs looks like a small grain of rice that they want to put under your skin, which is, in my view, a violation of human dignity. And they realize there is a hurdle. So to get people to accept this, there will be, why suddenly are all the billionaires saying, let's have universal basic income?
We're seeing this technology being implemented and pushed on society in just so many different ways. Recently, on July 24th, here's an article that says Whole Foods is adopting new biometric technology that lets you pay using your palm print.
Soon you will be able to pay for groceries at every Whole Foods in the U.S. with just a swipe of your hand. Amazon says that the pay by palm technology will be at all of those stores nationwide by the end of the year. Customers just have to hover their hand over the device to pay. This method is already being used at 200 Whole Foods locations across 20 states, and you can also find it in other places, stores like Panera Bread.
I also saw another video recently in Portland of a type of facial recognition software that is clearly tied to exactly like China's social credit score system. All these things implemented together, which will eventually be the one goal, can absolutely set the stage for people not being allowed to buy or sell without the mark of the beast in their hand or in their head.
Please look at camera for entry.
And if you stand on the shoes and look into the spheroid, if you get the green light, that'll open the door for you.
Oh, stand on the shoes?
Revelation 14:9 through 11. Then a third angel followed them, saying with a loud voice, "If anyone worships the beast and his image and receives his mark on his forehead or on his hand, he himself shall also drink of the wine of the wrath of God, which is poured out full strength into the cup of his indignation. He shall be tormented with fire and brimstone in the presence of the holy angels and in the presence of the Lamb. And the smoke of their torment ascends forever and ever, and they have no rest day or night, who worship the beast and his image, and whoever receives the mark of his name." Then God said, "Let there be lights in the firmament of the heavens to divide the day from the night, and let them be for signs and seasons and for days and years. And there will be signs in the sun, in the moon, and in the stars, and on the earth distress of nations with perplexity, the sea and the waves roaring." The sun, moon, and stars are used for signs and seasons, and Jesus even said in the last days that they'll be used for that reason. Which gives us something to consider when we realize that the United States, within the span of 7 years, has 3 solar eclipses going across it. On August 21st, 2017, there was the Great American Eclipse. That was a complete solar eclipse that spanned the entire nation.
We are here in Charleston, where we witnessed that once-in-a-lifetime cosmic event, along with millions of Americans today, the total solar eclipse. The first seen coast to coast across America in nearly a century. This NASA satellite image showing the shadow of the moon moving across the country.
After so much anticipation, it arrived right on schedule. The celestial matinee turning night today in Lincoln City, Oregon, the first stop for totality.
Oh my, it is just absolutely spectacular. Look how dark it is, how quiet it is. The air is still. This is like being in the eye of a hurricane.
And 7 years from that day, on April 8th, 2024, there will be another total solar eclipse that will mark an X right across the nation of the United States. That alone seems to have some sort of prophetic significance, as well as the fact that that takes place just a few days before the Passover that year. But also, on October 14th, 2023, this year, another annular solar eclipse is going to cross the United States. And what's truly incredible about all of that, when you mark this all on a map, it looks exactly like the first letter of the Hebrew alphabet, the Aleph. Some other pretty incredible things surrounding this is that on October 14th, 2023, when the annular solar eclipse will take place across the United States, that is also the day of the new moon in Jerusalem. And then on April 8th, 2024, when we get the next total solar eclipse that crosses the United States, marking the X, is that there's another new moon in Jerusalem on that date. And also April 8th happens to be the first day of the first month on the Hebrew calendar, and so it's the marking of a brand new biblical year on that date. In Luke 21:25, after Jesus says that there will be signs in the sun, moon, and stars in the last days, he said that there will also be distress of nations. Israel and Jerusalem being an absolute focal point for what takes place in the last days. It's incredible to see that lately there has been distress in Israel.
Tonight, there is unrest across Israel on the eve of a defining moment, even as Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu recovers from an emergency heart procedure. The 73-year-old Prime Minister said he's in excellent health and said he will be in the Knesset Monday when his right-wing ruling coalition is set to pass the first part of his judicial overhaul plan. Opposition to the plan reached a climax this weekend with mass protests across the country. The bitter disagreement reflects the deep split in Israel between those who want a more secular and diverse nation and those with a more religious and nationalistic vision.
Recently, France has been seeing massive unrest take place, just another nation to add to the list that's experiencing distress.
Molotov cocktails directed at the police, burning buses, and looting. For days on end, riots spread across France.
The prophecies of the last days and what the world will look like in the end times, I don't think is just going to happen overnight. It seems that these things are going to have to be built up to that very point, and it seems like that's what we're getting a glimpse of right now. Jesus even said, "Don't fear, for these things must happen first." So this video isn't to put fear into anybody. We don't know what stage of this timeline we're in, but it does seem that we're getting glimpses of that prophetic future right now. So let me know what you think in the comments. Is that what you think is taking place in the world? What stage of the prophetic timeline do you believe that we're in? I pray you all are well. Thanks for watching, and God bless.